Hi, I'm Kahler. Thanks for joining me. I've discovered a wonderful new tool that any columnist ought to have. It's a way to protect myself from anyone who might be inclined to disagree with me, challenge any of my facts, write me nasty letters, or attack my character in any way. Apparently, all I have to do is trademark my name. Now, I learned this technique from author and radio talk show host Dave Ramsey. By and large, I agree with and fully support what Dave does. In his show and his books, he encourages people to get out from under crushing debt, and he teaches them how to build and maintain financial peace in their lives. His work has helped thousands of people better their lives, and I've recommended his material in my own books and columns, and I'll continue to do so. A few months ago, however, I wrote a column in which I strongly disagreed with some investment advice Dave had given. As usual, this column was published in print newspapers, on my websites, and as a video on YouTube. It was the YouTube video that got me into trouble. I received a cease and desist letter from Dave Ramsey's company. It informed me that his name was trademarked and I did not have the permission to use it. Now, this was something quite new to me. I've written columns and articles for over 17 years. In that time, I've quoted, recommended, or disagreed with various public figures. I've also had others quote, recommend, and disagree, sometimes quite vehemently on YouTube, with me. That's one of the consequences of putting yourself out there with your ideas and your opinions. It's true whether you are a nationally known pundit or an occasional writer of letters to the editor of your local paper. Feedback, both critical and approving, is part of the territory. Just imagine if controversial figures like Rush Limbaugh or Dr. Laura Schlesinger had the right to prevent others from using their names. Anyone disagreeing with them would have to get creative with descriptive terms. It would be a bit like the characters in the Harry Potter books referring to the villain Voldemort as he who cannot be named. Then, of course, there's the question of using someone's name, especially a public figure, when you agree with them. If it's a trademark infringement to cite someone's name when you are being critical, then logically, it would also be a trademark infringement to praise them or recommend their work. Somehow, I think the later violation would tend to be forgiven more readily than the former. Now, after several emails back and forth with Dave Ramsey's organization, they ceased and desisted from their attempts to make me cease and desist. My correspondent from his office also told me that my column had been caught up in an attempt that the company was making to stop some YouTube videos that had been using Dave's name to sell financial products. I fully agree with their efforts to prevent that type of trademark violation. Ripping off someone else's work is piracy, and I wish them well in stopping it. I fully intend to continue to recommend Dave's books. If I disagree with him in the future, I'm going to say so. I hope he'll do the same. Well, I half-heartedly hope so. To be honest, it's painful to get feedback from those who disagree with me, especially if they happen to be right. That type of public discussion is not only a consequence of being a public figure, it is one of the ways that we learn from one another. It's an essential part of the free exchange of ideas. That's an essential component of a free society. Thanks so much for listening.